Gen Broncos Country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Favorite time of the week, but not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews in your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. The most loyal fans there ever could be. We are that mile high Broncos country.
Orange Weekly. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Well, hello, Broncos country, and welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos No BS. And just like the Broncos offense, Facebook isn't working tonight. So if you're watching this video, it's probably going to be on YouTube or Twitter. Maybe you're watching on Facebook, but it doesn't look like the stream's even working there. So
I'll tell you for a second there, I thought you were going to say, just like the Broncos offense, Jared looks asleep tonight. It was.
Oh, well, that's also true.
Could have worked a lot of different ways.
Both work.
Yeah.
Are you awake there, Jared? Or are you just sleeping through life, through the depression and everything?
I am just enjoying my dark room and my rum and coke, and we're eventually probably going to have to talk about the Broncos, so I'm just getting in the right mindset.
That's true. That's true.
See, before we do talk about the Broncos, Jared, it always looks like you're drinking a dark beer out of that glass, because that's the kind of glass you should drink a dark beer out of, and not so much a rum and coke. So it always deceives me into thinking that maybe you've developed a sophisticated palate for beer. And I mean, obviously that's not the case. So
well, David, you know me long enough that you realize that Jared and sophisticated do not belong in the same sentence.
in any no way,
unless there's a not
in any aspect.
Jared is not sophisticated.
Also, if we're talking about the reason I use this glass is because you fill up to this little line right here that the New Belgium Brewery and their globe glasses have so nicely made me already, and then the rest fills with one can of Coke. And it's a perfect cocktail for knowing when to stop pouring the liquor.
Is it a perfect cocktail for alcohol dependence? Is the question. Is it what's the ratio there?
Next question, please.
Next question, please. Okay. Well, the next question I have is about the Denver Broncos. So, do you really want me to ask it, or
previous question? Previous question.
Oof. Oh. Well, fam, here we are.
I'll tell you what, this week is rough. For those of you that, I don't know if you guys have any Jets fans. For so long, you could look at them and laugh and go, but
and even when the Broncos didn't have much, they had more than fans. And
now, the beginning of the season, he tells me he's a Jets fan, and I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. Like, one of those, like, poor guy. Like, you've gone through a lot. Like, I feel for you. And now I have to spend a year, approximately 1 year, of never living this down.
Yeah, at least. At least.
If it was a closer game, maybe I would be like, our defense played great, guys. One blown touchdown run, but our defense played really well.
I think we've said that every week except for Vegas week. And
the extent of it, though,
and the show ends on that positive note. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.
Take care. Yeah, that's it. We're just gonna leave now, because it just goes downhill from here. It goes back to the missed point after. That really is what set everything else in motion for how obviously how we approach the end of the game there. But this is like the third week in a row where a special teams blunder, and it wasn't like special teams played bad. It was a bad Waitman hold, but we couldn't overcome that. We are so bad that we cannot even overcome a missed point after attempt.
For the record, it was a bad snap and hold.
Okay, I heard and I thought I saw, but I thought it was a fine snap. It was just a bad hold. But either way, okay, fine.
Well, it came in
Let's
high,
say,
which means he had to bring it down faster. And because he had to bring it down faster, gravity works in mysterious ways. And he had to bring it down faster and end up bouncing off the ground, and he had to readjust itself.
Gravity is a theory, my friend. A theory. It is unproven. And I'm going to leave it with that. Also, the earth is flat.
And as I pull up ESPN, what do we have to look forward to but a Sunday morning, early morning game in London?
Yeah.
I at least am ready to get disappointed by about 10 o'clock by the Broncos instead of waiting all day to be disappointed by the Broncos.
Fair.
I'm not ready to be disappointed and sober. And I don't know
why are you going to be sober?
How I'm going to react eating breakfast and knowing we've already lost.
Just mimosa, Jared, Bloody Mary. There are There are solutions to these problems. I know you like your rum and Coke, but you've got to switch paradigms a little bit. Do what the Broncos aren't going to do and change strategies a little bit, Jared.
You know what? I like that. Thank you. I'm gonna maybe that's it. Maybe my rum and Cokes are the reason. Maybe I need to switch to a little bloody. And you go to a Bloody Mary.
There it is.
Get some extra celery salt in there. Some celery, stir it up all nice, make it nice and spicy.
You could load that MRF right there. You could put a chicken wing and a cheeseburger slider onto a skewer, and then you fry up a nice big stiff but you got to make it a thick slab of bacon, like a big piece of bacon. Bacon. Right. Well, I mean, we'll see where the show goes. This could be more like a backstage show if we don't actually get some people in here.
That's kind of where it's at. Rob, how you doing?
We got to get to Rob joining us from YouTube. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, Absolutely. We got to get more people over to our YouTube. We got to tweet it out that our Facebook's not working. Yeah.
Jeez, Kevin.
We're up to 2 viewers now.
Question on the chicken wing. Do I have to cook said chicken wing?
You should. You should because now I would say if you weren't going to eat the chicken wing, you don't have to. But in this particular case, the chicken wing will probably be coming into contact with the liquid on the top of your Bloody Mary, and Kevin, I know.
Flavor. Well, I like my chicken medium rare.
See,
so as long as the outside that's cooked, you're fine.
Kevin's not a big science guy, so he's gonna.
I don't know what
gravity, salmonella,
salmon.
None of it exists.
Right, salmon, and Nutella, and I'm like, why? What does that have to do with raw chicken? Like,
guys, you can't even see
salmon with my raw chicken.
I want
just raw.
How
chicken.
can it hurt me if I can't see it? Says Kevin. And so here we are, Kevin on his deathbed in the next couple of weeks. Jared,
hey, I lose a year off my life for every Broncos game I watch. I should have died 52 years ago.
That's reasonable. And this is the thing, you're going to these games too. You had second row seats to this latest embarrassment.
Which really quickly, I need to take a second and give a huge shout out to Mary for giving me her tickets, and then Deb and Smouse, who were my buddies sitting next to me.
Oh, you can't forget
and then
Smouse.
Jay got a little drunk, but that's okay. He was having a good time, so that's fine. We were all
as long as he didn't get too rowdy. It's all right.
No.
Okay.
Well, I was the rowdy one. I told everyone around me, "Hey, never been down here before. Might be my only time down here for a long time. I'm gonna be a little crazy." And they said, "You go for it," and I did. So
good for you. Were they at least? Did they at least score in the end zone that you were?
Yes.
Good.
Well, yes.
There's that.
So I was right there for that.
There's that.
Yes, there's that.
All right. Well, so
we've taken 10 minutes to stay positive.
Yes. and at this point, I do want to say, let's talk about the Broncos, guys. So obviously you come off the loss to the Jets where your defense played well. You've got now reporters willing to openly ask Nathaniel Hackett if he's willing to give up play calling. Hackett says we're not going to do that this week because you've got the London week is the excuse he's going with. So we're going to keep
He
things.
called it a short week.
Right, he did, which I guess technically it is because you're playing earlier and
you get less practices.
You do get less practices with the travel time, and you have to factor in the length of the travel itself, which has a factor on athletes' bodies. It's a thing.
Yeah, you're gonna get about 2 less practices this week than you would in a normal week.
Well, and
Kevin, that's a short week.
See, and Kevin doesn't understand
Why don't you just squeeze that in somewhere else?
Kevin doesn't
take it out of the sleep schedule.
The concept of flying across a globe, because Kevin thinks
it's not a globe, it's flat.
See, it should only take a couple of hours in Kevin's mind to fly from Colorado to London, so there's not that big a deal. There shouldn't be.
I will
Kevin
say
for HR of the Denver Broncos, everybody. If you need an HR representative that's going to be able to defend your people, Kevin is the guy.
Got your back. I will say that I knew a Nav who in the Air Force who actually thought the Earth was flat, and anyway, it makes about as much sense as the Broncos offense right now. But dude, yeah, guys, this is
it makes about as much. I think it makes about as much sense as this glass being filled with whiskey instead, but it looks blue. It's the miracles of science. Anyway. We're running a theme tonight in tonight's show, guys. I don't know if you can tell. Let's talk.
It's called deflecting all of our every comment that we have to a new
let's
conversation.
Talk about the Broncos, and one of us are like,
we keep trying to, guys, this is a Broncos show.
Please.
We should talk about the Broncos.
No, please.
Any conversation but right now. I really
guys,
would
we've
just
eaten
like
up at least 2.5 more minutes. I think we could just find different things to talk about for the rest of the hour. I think we could do it. No,
we could create a comedy show for an hour and just move on.
Jared and I have done it before. It was not funny. People did not laugh, but we did it.
I laughed.
Did you watch the
It was funny
at the high school.
It was funny to us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's fair. All right. So let's get down to brass tacks on these Broncos. You lose Baron Browning because we have to start with an injuries discussion, right?
Yep.
As Baron Browning is coming on, you're losing him to a hip injury that's going to keep him out for several weeks. Was the last thing that I heard. Russell Wilson's status is still up in the air right now. Jerry Jeudy got banged up, and okay, all right, he probably is. You're right. Jerry Jeudy got banged up in the game. K'Wan Williams got banged up in the game. They both came back in, but now it's more additions to just the list of walking wounded, the triage that we've got going on out there right now as one of the most injured teams in the NFL. What do you do at this point, fellas, other than just throw up your hands and say, well, you got shit luck again on the injury front. Like another year in a row, you're the goddamn Chargers, and nobody wants to be the Chargers.
No. Well, like the medical room is filling up, is more busy than the locker room. That's kind of where we're getting to at this point. We can go into that whole discussion of whether Hackett's going to get fired or not, but at this point,
we will.
We will. But when you look at the injuries we have alone, it's almost like, well, can any team be expected to, be competitive in games with this kind of injury bug? And we've been competitive in the games. So is that, to be the devil's advocate for a second, there's your argument for keeping Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh,
hey, we're still at least competitive in these games.
Bless you.
I'm coming into this with the defend Nathaniel Hackett mindset. Just for the record, I'm on the defend Nathaniel Hackett train. So you don't have to take that with some crazy notion that we've been in these games. And I think that's a big part of it is we have not been in these games, and not in a comfortable position where like, oh, we lost because they drove down the field and kicked a field goal. No, we lost because we can't drive down the field and kick a field goal. There's a difference, and that's what makes the offense so frustrating. Like, if we were losing and we were up, losing by 2 points and they were kicking last-minute field goals the whole time, we're having a different conversation. We have never once in the last, any of the games, including the ones we won, have I ever felt comfortable with the way that we've been playing, like killing on offense. But I've never once been like, oh yeah, we got this game. Great job, guys. Doing it, killing it. We got this game. This is awesome. Or even like to the point where I'm like, okay, all we got to do is stop him. Because if it was all we got to do is stop him, which I think it was in the 49ers game, right? All we got to do is stop him. I'm comfortable because our defense is killing it. What I'm not comfortable is like, hey guys, we're down again. We need to score now because we know we can't when there's time running out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're down by 1 point in the fourth quarter with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, and we have 2 timeouts. And there's just, you've got no faith in the offense right now.
Yeah,
and
you're like, well, might as well go to bed.
Right, exactly. And that's it, Kevin. I to your point.
Well, and that's why people leave the stadium so early.
Sure. But
that overtime game.
Oh God, that stupid Colts game.
Which one?
Oh,
the Colts overtime game where everybody left the stadium as overtime kicked off, being like, "Nah, we're done.
Now we're out." We saw this movie already. No,
we've seen this. Is this a repeat?
and this, Kevin, is why I can't get on board with the defend Nathaniel Hackett from the injuries standpoint, because they haven't looked good on offense no matter who was in there. They've had people, they've had people dropping like flies for sure. And you can talk about building continuity and gelling all you want. But you guys tell me, do you think if they had all 11 day one starters on the offense right now, the offense would look remarkably different?
Because what did we see in week 1, week 2, week 3, before these injuries really started piling up? The same crap we're saying now. So, no. The reason I brought that up was just for a talking point, not because I actually believe it.
Well, here we are at 17 minutes.
Here's what I think about it. I think we and I will eat my words, and I want to eat my words at the end of the season and next season and the season after. I think we have them for 4 years. What we've seen is that we got duped by Russell Wilson. We got duped into somebody who is so used to looking at one receiver, or 2 receivers. One receiver only or 2 receivers, that he's not a system player, and he's not ready to play in a system. And what I saw, while everybody else saw that, oh, well, the offense didn't work again with another quarterback, it's obviously the offensive coordinator's fault. What I saw was great plays being called, not being able to execute because you got a backup quarter in there, overthrowing guys, missing wide open receivers, but being able to see it, seeing the plays, just not being able to execute. And putting together decent drives. I mean, there was a couple of them that were like bad and a couple bad, miscues. And we talked about Russell having the same ones about not calling off when he sees a blitz coming in and letting a guy come in just unadulterated at full speed. But what I'm seeing is like the play calls are there. And if you look at the film, the people are open. There are players that are open. The people are there. And whether or not Rippon or Russell Wilson get him the ball is a different story. And that's why I think everyone's on this like, oh, well, we tried a different quarterback, so it's obviously the offensive coordinator, the head coach's fault. Maybe if you looked at like just the same way that people looked at the wide open receivers for Russell Wilson the game before, let's look at some of the wide open receivers that he missed. That out and up call was brilliant and was overthrown. That's a touchdown right there. You connect on 2 or like maybe not even 2. You connect on 1 of those wide open plays, and you're talking about a different game. But we haven't been able to connect on those wide open plays. That's why I want to. Got a lot of face in me.
Yeah, boy, that's what I think whenever I see your face. Actually, there's a lot of face on that, man.
Hey,
there's a lot.
That's
of
why I
face
stick
there.
to podcasting because you can't see me. Anyways, my big thing with Nathaniel Hackett is, I think the play calling is there. Do I like and here's the other thing too, and I said it in our chat. I was like, hey, look at the play calls. We're running 50-50, running back and runs and passes, which is exactly what you want in any play system. It's exactly what you want. You want a 50-50 split and driving the ball and getting the first downs. What you don't want is getting and then if you look at the stats now, it looks pretty skewed because in the last 2 drives we were down, so we were trying to throw for whatever and we didn't have the time, so we didn't have time to run the ball. But what you don't want is something that's like what people are going to read and what people are going to say if you look at the stats after the game is, why is Brett Rippon throwing the ball 40-something times? Yeah. And I get it. I get it. I understand. But what they're doing is they're first of all, if we were 50-50, he still threw the ball 45 times, that means we had the ball quite often, which is a good thing. But he is throwing the ball 50 times, and that's something that you're not going to be able to do against a decent defense or a decent team.
Nope.
So I think that the play calling is there. I think that we're missing the mark on the fact of Hackett. We brought in Hackett as offensive genius, and he's not doing the job because we're not scoring. And if you look at it from the bigger picture, that's exactly what it is. But when you start dissecting it, how about we get Russell Wilson and Hackett on the same page? Maybe I'm hoping, and here's my hope. I'm hoping Russell Wilson was on the sideline watching Hackett and telling Wilson, like, hey, yo, because we do this all the time on the headset. Hey, he should be looking at that X receiver. He should be looking off the safety and watching the X come across the field. And then he looks off the safety goes that way, and then he throws it to the running back in the flats, and then he goes, Russ, you see this? You see how this works? Mm-hmm. Like, you're doing the same thing. Like, you got to be able to look it off and use the system to work it off. But, and this is where I'll get into, and this will be the last thing I say before I push it over and I get off my soapbox about this. If Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett don't actually get on the same page eventually, and Nathaniel Hackett has to come in there and be like, hey, man, this is the system. You have to come into my system. I'm not adjusting my system to your play style just because you want to look at one receiver only. That's not how this works. You got to get on my system, and you got to do this. And I'm hoping this game is what did it. And if they don't do that, we're going to have another season. We might have 1 or 2 wins the rest of the season if we don't do that. And you're right. Hackett will be the first one to go because we're paying Russell Wilson way too much money. It'd be way too much of a cap hit.
So what do we do? Because I agree. Wilson is, I don't know if I'm at the point where I want to say that we got totally duped yet. It's definitely trending that way very, very strongly. What do we do to get him in a position where for him to succeed? Because we are going to, like you just said, we're going to be stuck with him for his contract. So we have to find a way to make this work. And do we make this all about Russ? Do we make this a Russ team in order for us to get wins and get to the playoffs? Or do we bring another coach to try and install another system that maybe is more friendly to Russ? I mean,
well, that's what they'd try first, because that's, I just from the, there's the money aspect of it, and then there's also the public perception of Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and Nathaniel Hackett hasn't won diddly.
Yeah.
In his, and he's been in the league a long time, but what has he got? What's the hardware on the shelf say, and who's got more of it? And so I know from an ownership standpoint, that perception is going to have some weight. It's going to mean more to the people who ultimately have to sign the checks that, they're already signing a check for Russell Wilson, as Jared said, a big one. And it costs a lot less to fire a coach than to cut your quarterback. But then B also, there's, whether or not it's right, there's going to be that perception that, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl already and Nathaniel Hackett didn't. And that's the way it's going to be,
I think we're talking about 99% of the decision is going to be financial based.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way,
it's going to be financial based, and firing a coach. Coaches are never the star or the front man for a team. And regardless of how good or how bad the guy is, you're not going to get rid of a guy that you just signed for 4 years and all this money. And you can see it, man. Like, you can see the national media swaying a certain way. Everyone's saying, why are we giving Russ so much crap? But, and that's the other thing I hate. Like, if you look at the national media, it's like, Hackett's can't do it. Is Russ real? I think Stephen A. Smith's the only one that's really stepped up, and I hate saying this because Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. Smith's the only one that stepped up. Is like, yo, Russ, what's going on? Like, how are you doing this? Everybody else is on the like, fire Hackett, get rid of Hackett. Why is everybody so mad at Russ? Like, I don't understand it because for 2 reasons. One, I know Russ is going to stay. They could both be and right now it looks like it. They could both be the worst head coach and the worst quarterback in the league. But because of the money, Russ is going to stick around and Hackett's going to go. And then this is what's going to happen. Hackett just talked the Broncos into trading for somebody, and he traded himself out of a job because he's going to come here. He's not going to do his system. He's going to get fired, and then they're going to talk to Russ, be like, all right, man, how do we make this work? We got you for 4 years, so we got to make sure that you're happy. And then they're going to find a coach who's going to sit back and let Russ do his work, whatever he wants to do. And then after 2 years of that, it's going to be a mess. So here we go. We're on the ride.
It's not exactly let's ride. Here we go.
So here
we go. We're
I
on
love
the
how
ride.
you ended. I love how you ended that though. So here we are. We're on the ride.
Here we go.
We
That's
are
that's the new
ride.
catchphrase. Here we are.
We're
We're
on
on
the
the
ride.
ride.
So, yeah, I was seeing, like we would say, and I'm sure Navy says it too, but just embrace the suck, guys. Embrace the suck. It's here to stay.
I want the things that you're saying to be wrong.
Me too.
I do too.
And they're not. And I just
they're not. Hey, we got Drake in here. Drake, thanks for tuning in here with all the technical issues we're having on Facebook. Glad you're here at Orange Weekly on YouTube. If things don't go planned this weekend, I don't think Hackett should go, but we need a change, and I wouldn't mind Kubiak taking over the play calling. The only thing is that I saw Shanahan's name pop up last night's on last night's show as well. Why would either one of those guys want to come to the Broncos?
Who?
Kubiak.
Oh wait, are you talking about Kubiak's son? Yeah,
Clint
sorry.
Kubiak.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, he doesn't have any head coaching experience.
No, but he's called plays before. And that's
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I think everybody's just
plays,
looking
but...
for anybody. Right. At this point, people are just looking for solutions. And I'm not entirely against this idea, but it's going to be one of those things where you're again, like we were just talking about, you're putting the emphasis on Hackett being the problem when at the very least, I don't know if I'm with you, Kev. I'm not ready to say we got duped by Russell Wilson, but I also can't say that we can just now safely pile the blame at Hackett's feet. Like that's also not a thing that I think you can just take for granted.
It's the easy answer.
Yeah.
The easy answer is to blame the coach.
Yep.
Your team sucks. You just lost 4 in a row. What's the easy answer? You're not blaming the quarterback. And unless you're a successful coach, right? Unless you're a Super Bowl, like you said, a Super Bowl winning coach,
you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt.
The easy answer is coach sucks.
Yep. Especially when it's your first time, especially when there's a perception, right or wrong, building that you didn't hire the best qualified coaches at a lot of different positions. You just hired your buddies. And when everybody knows that the NFL is just a boys club and it always has been, and literally every team just gets by hiring your buddies. That's what all the teams do all the time, forever.
Well, the NFL has officially canceled Orange Weekly because you just said that. So
what are you going to do, NFL? What are you going to... Is a shadowy league figure going to be waiting outside my door tomorrow? I don't think so. I mean, he might be. I don't know. But he's probably going to be wearing like an NFL like windbreaker and still be like super obvious. And he'll be like, hey, can I talk to you for just a second? And I'll be like, nah. And he'll be like, hey, but I really need to. And by that time, I'll be gone. And he'll have to go back to his cubicle inside the NFL's complex in Los Angeles, his mid-management job, and report to his superior, who doesn't care, who doesn't remember his name, and doesn't remember why he assigned him to that job in the first place. And he's going to have to report to that man and say that he failed. And that is
his entire job. His entire job is watching Orange Weekly for the rest of the year to see if we say anything against NFL, and he's crying at his desk because he has to watch us talk crap about him and his shitty job.
I'll tell you what, he's out in the hall watching the show, crying right now. Right now, he knows he's going to have to. All of this is going to happen as I've described it. And he knows it, and I know it, and that's the reality that we live in. And
I feel like I just took a very intricate and fun journey with you, David.
Well, I'll tell you, like we almost
I was there with you through the story that you were building and putting together. And I'll tell you what, I was ready to see how that was going to end. The suspense was there, you know.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, guys? You can make every play feel that exciting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and their unbeatable offers. Right now, new customers can bet make any $5 NFL bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out, guys. In addition to the usual bets, everybody can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Ton of games obviously out there this week. We're focused on the Jacksonville and Broncos one. Look, neither team's really the home team. Both teams are going to be tired from the travel. So might be a more even-keeled game. We'll see. Maybe one team makes more mistakes than the others, but either way, it could be some interesting betting lines there for you to check out. But to make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game day all season long. Now, here's how you get on this action, guys. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook using promo code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Tell them about it. All right.
Thanks, David, for the setup. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, I
you
do
didn't even know.
I do.
You didn't even know.
All I can do is my best, and then you just come in and are like, smash it.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Let's talk about Jacksonville and London, and let's talk about London games in general, because I think it's ironic that, I don't know if ironic is the right word. I don't think I'm using that word correctly in this instance, but I will say it's interesting wordplay that Jacksonville plays so much in London, because I think London games are jackassery, and those words are kind of similar here.
They are,
which is where I was going with that.
They start with the same letters.
Get the abacus out, Jared. Quick now. Anyway, while Jared's working that out, I don't know where it is either, pal. Jared's finding out if his daughter took his math toy. Anyway, I think I understand from a money-making perspective why London games exist, and it's the same reason I understand why Thursday night games exist. Again, for monetary reasons.
It's stupid, but
and outside of that, I have nothing good to say about London games, and I think I hate them, and I wish they weren't a thing, much like Thursday night games. But here we are, and if you're up at 7:30 on a Sunday like me, no matter what, anyways, you will at least be able to turn on the Denver Broncos.
Yep. And hey, I'm at least going to be live at 6:30 in the morning with my mimosa doing a pregame show. So you guys can join me if you want. But I will be here. Might be a little early for you, Jared.
Jared's trying to calculate what time.
5:30.
5:30 is a little early for me.
I don't know, Jared. You always
a little bit, but
you're always telling me that's when you start work every day is 5:30.
Yeah, so. I do during the weekday.
Yeah. Wow. So 5 days a week.
Weekends
another
exist.
Work day.
5 days a week, you're already doing it. What's one more day?
Yeah.
One
more day for the Broncos.
One more Z's.
For the Broncos.
One more Z's.
I will.
Okay.
If you know what? I'm gonna go out this weekend. I'm gonna get the stuff to make not mimosas, but chicken wing and
slider,
real thick, nice and sliders and bacon, Bloody Marys. And I might start drinking at 5:30 in the morning. What does that say about me, guys?
Well, it says that we're all in pain.
It
and
says
we're
you're a Broncos
experiencing it
fan.
together. Yeah.
It says I'm a Broncos fan. All right.
Yeah. In 2022.
I think there's a reason that Jacksonville plays in London all the time. It's because the owner over there understands that there's a lot of following in London and England with the NFL, and I think that they're building a pretty good following. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the fans at that game were, while we have a very good London fan base and a very good English fan base, I think that there's going to be a lot of Jacksonville fans at that game, and I think they're building a really good following over there, just like a good organization does, try to get that international following because you get a lot of merchandising out of that. And I think for all the things that Jacksonville's not, the new owner coming in, the way that he's been turning around that team has been pretty good. Not so much on the field, but doing it. I can't believe they just traded James Robinson. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They really believe in Tenian. Like that's really a thing.
You mean Etienne?
Well, that's what I said.
Is that what you said?
That's what I heard.
It really sounded like you said Tenian, who is not.
Etienne.
Not close.
Okpuno.
Oof. I mean, that's the thing. I would get on you, Kevin, about that, but he's been a game day inactive for 2 weeks in a row, so it seems unlikely that we'll need to know Albert O's name in the foreseeable future.
Yeah. What is up with that? They're hating on Albert O.
He's out.
Has anybody really asked?
He's done.
He's out. I don't know
But
why.
why?
I can't tell you. Maybe it's because he doesn't block very well.
I was
Maybe
about to say it's not an injury. Like
Maybe it was-
been gamed. He was our number one guy. Like we traded away Noah Fant, being like, "Don't worry, we got Alberto," and now he's not even like popping the top to game day actives.
Doesn't Greg Dulcich have more catches in 2 weeks than Alberto does this season? I know he had a couple of big.
I think
drops.
he has more targets too.
Yeah, I know he had a couple of big drops in the first 2 games. There's one drop in particular that I'm seeing in my mind in that second game that I think really hurt Alberto as far as the coaches are concerned.
Man, but everybody's been dropping the ball.
That's true.
I mean,
oh my god,
it wasn't like it
excited
was
for Dulcich.
just him.
Oh, Dulcich
yeah.
is looking nice so far. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been out the disappearing Alberto.
Well, even was it Tomlinson?
Tomlinson, yeah, got his first catch this week.
He got a couple of them.
Yeah. And they look
And he's
look
catching
decent.
well, like to the point where what's that?
They look decent. The tight ends.
Yeah.
They all kind of look decent this week. It was, I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Okay, well let's talk about this. What about the and backing it up again, this is the No BS show. This is the real reason for the tweeter late leak, the OnlyFans leak of the fact that the Denver Broncos want to trade away or are getting calls to trade away. That is not by design. That's not by just somebody saying like, "Oh man, I've heard." This is a leak on purpose.
Yeah.
Saying that the Denver Broncos are looking to trade away cuz guess what? We are 1 2 1 2 and then 1 2 3 4 5 2 and 6 on the season.
2 and 5.
And
2 and 5, Jared. Do the quick again, real quick. Just real quick. Gotta count it. Count the red ones.
2 and 5 on the season, and we are can't make that up. We are we are not looking good, and at some point we got to get some draft capital back for what we had to trade for Russell Wilson, and I think that's part of what this is. This is a leak of like, hey, we might be interested in throwing some people out there. Whether we got one call from a bum in the streets of LA saying, hey, we want to trade you. Hey, they're getting trade calls for these certain people, and usually when they're named specifically, it's definitely a leak from
that price.
Yeah, trying to bump up the price and trying to see if we can get some battle out, because there's some teams out there that have decent quarterback play and rough wide receivers.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you like Indy,
the Rams. The
Rams.
F them picks, the Rams. Here's what I'm going to ask you fellas right now. Would you consider trading away any of the following players for less than a second round pick, knowing full well that you're not going to get a second round pick offered for most of these players?
Right.
Bradley Chubb, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. Who else? Those are the big 3 that pop out in my head right now.
No.
Okay.
I would maybe consider it with like a third, but I don't think you're even gonna get a third for those guys.
I think you could ask for a second round pick for Bradley Chubb. The rest
ask.
of them, right? I think you could ask.
Team is desperate enough to give it up.
I'll say that I think you could ask for it with a straight face. The others, I don't even think if you're George Payton, you could ask for a second round pick with a straight face for Jerry Jeudy or KJ Hamler right now. Jerry Jeudy, maybe a third round pick, maybe. But KJ Hamler, there's just no way you could get that kind of value for him right now.
Yeah.
And what's the argument? Is there an argument for, hey, these are good young players. They're not great young players yet. But Bradley Chubb is arguably the second best player on your defense right now, on a defense that's playing really well. Is there value to keeping that guy as a building block of your franchise, or do you gamble that Baron Browning is going to continue his upward trajectory? I mean, play armchair GM with me for a minute, guys, because we got 20 minutes left to go on this guy.
Look, at this point, I'm not seeing any likely scenario in which we get a trade offer that is worthwhile, and that means our draft capital for this next year kind of sucks. But at the same time, I'd rather keep the pieces we already have and keep those guys together because they are young, because they are developing. and keep that core together, versus trade people away. We know what KJ Hamler can do. If we can find a way to get Russ to throw the deep threats, and KJ's made a one or two really good catches down the field this year. So, I mean, the threat's there, I don't necessarily want to trade that away. Like that's something that if we can find a way to get things going this year or next year, we can definitely use that to exploit. And I don't want to look back on this saying, okay, well, we got a third or fourth round pick out of him, but now I'm wishing he was here, So I don't know. I'm at the point where I see the arguments for maybe trading some of these guys. I don't see it being worth it.
Yeah, you can't just trade them away to have a number of picks. Like
No.
you can't just trade them away to have 10 draft picks when you want 10 draft picks.
Exactly.
Right. I would say wide receiver is probably where we're the most stacked at.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were going to trade somebody again, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a third. I know people are talking like there's no way we get a third for Judy, but if we got a third for Judy, I wouldn't be surprised.
It could happen.
It could.
However,
it's reasonable.
I think that he may have played himself out of that in this last game. His effort level was less than appetizing in that game.
Even though he was our leading receiver.
Effort when he didn't get the ball.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Like you're talking about watching him when he didn't get the ball or the scrambles, or that he had one deep ball that he stopped running the route mid route. And now that's
things
on
I couldn't
national
see
television.
Yeah.
On national television, you see that, right? You see him not run the route and not be able to get to that ball, even though if he would have gone full speed, I feel like he probably would have. But then you look at some of the other stuff, you look at the film and you look at some of the other stuff, like his blocking, some of his routes that he's kind of supposed to run off a guy, he kind of gives up on. I love the guy and I want to see him be successful, but this goes back to, and I'm going to go back to
Full
something that
circle.
I probably
Full circle
back to, I said we need to keep Hackett, but there's something that Hackett needs to hold on to, is that we said this last week, and I think it rings even more true now than it did last week. We are playing as individuals. We are not playing as a team. And that is the most frustrating part about watching these Denver Broncos. Each one of our players, I think, are great in their own way. And I think that they are awesome, and I think that they are great athletes in their own way. But until they start playing for each other and not for themselves, we're not getting anywhere. And I think there's only probably be about 5 or 6 people on this team. And I'll say this, the defense is playing together. The offense is playing as individuals.
Yeah.
That's you. You're Jared beating a dead horse.
Am I though?
Well, and not to interrupt, it's not just you. This is things that we've been saying forever now, and we just keep going back to it, man. It's frustrating.
Jared, Richie's got a good point. It's not only orange visor, but you're going orange on orange tonight, which is
I'm orange on orange right now. I'm really going all in.
You've got your coach
Richie,
outfit.
You missed
on.
me at the beginning. I went full emo mode with the hoodie up and.
Yeah, it was. There was a whole Broncos Unabomber look. It was. Yeah. No, it was a thing. So, fellas, let's talk about Jaguars in London, because we got off the topic and now we've got about 15 minutes left here.
This episode, we haven't gotten off topic once, David. I don't
No,
know
you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I misspoke. So what do you guys? I mean, it to me, it's just another game where you look at the opponent and you look at the script and you go, man, we've seen this movie before, and we're going to see it again. We're going to see the Broncos lose 19-14 or 19-12.
Yep.
And and come back to London with just as many questions as they had the week before, plus probably, and knock on wood because you're not rooting for injuries, obviously, but probably another couple of starters on the injured reserve, because that's just the way it's going this year. And I mean, it's just you've got no faith that the script is going to flip at any point, right?
No.
Here's my faith. Here's my faith. My faith is that we go to London and we win against the Jaguars, but it's not going to be crazy win. It's going to be like a we won against San Francisco win, right? Like it's going to be like it's cool, we won, the game ended, and we had more points than they did.
We had 15 and they had 8.
Yeah, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna start getting hope again. But it's obviously gonna be not realistic.
Not real. It's not real. No.
And
then you're going to have assuming Russell doesn't start, because I think he will, even though he shouldn't. You're going to have everybody saying Rippon should be the quarterback now instead of Wilson. You have to deal with that through the whole bye week. So, Rich, 9-8 Broncos win over the Jags.
Hey, dear
It's so
London,
easily
dear
go
all of Europe, dear Europe, I'm sorry this is the product we send.
Yeah.
On behalf of the Denver Broncos and the NFL, I'd like to apologize for what you were about to see on Sunday morning.
Dear Europe,
Sunday afternoon time.
And football watchers in general, I'm not sorry. You have remote controls. You have other channels. I write. Open the kimono here a little bit. I write news and articles for the streaming industry, guys, and I'll tell you what right now, there's literally never been more to watch out there for free. Anywhere you want to go, you can watch pretty much anything you want. So if you don't want to be watching the Denver Broncos this week or any week, you don't have to. So shut up.
David, can we get an article can we get a streaming article of what to watch other than the London game on Sunday morning?
Sure, it'll be 3 words. Literally anything else. Done. I don't get paid by the word. Fuck it.
Well, you don't now.
No, I sure don't now. Yeah, that's right. Joey, where have you been all episode? I have never needed any more of Joey's bullshit than I need tonight. Goddamn right. Team Puffball say shut up. What does Team Visor have to say about that? Nothing. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of objection here.
Why use more words when less do trick?
When few words do trick.
I SeaWorld. Okay, did you go to SeaWorld? Or did you go to SeaWorld? Anyway.
No, SeaWorld. Oh no, see, this is the flaw in your plan, because now I don't know whether you've been going to SeaWorld. Joey, we've talked about it all, but there's nothing else to talk about it, so let's talk about it again. We will not accept less for these players. And there goes Jared, and he didn't want to talk about this again, and I understand.
His agent's calling him.
Yeah, he's
the Broncos are getting a trade off. This Jared is a part of the trade.
Jared is being traded to another team right now.
Well, Jared's he's not going to be traded to another team, but the Broncos are calling him for some trade advice right now.
I just hope if he does get traded, he goes to a contender. I would like to see Jared.
You want Jared to go to a contender?
I would like to see him with the Bills.
The Bills podcast.
Or with like DNVR, something like that.
I could see him there.
Right, exactly. But like not in a that's the thing. I can see Jared there, but not in a capacity of where he's talking about sports. He's like working at their bar. Like he's the host, and he's like, he's got that nice button-up shirt, and he's got that, that ripped look where he's like, I clearly want to show off these muscles under this shirt that's a size
how
too
tight
small.
Is the shirt?
Oh, it's tight. No, it's tight.
Okay.
Now
it's like Italian cut,
and it doesn't show everything, but it definitely shows enough to the point where you're like, all right, this guy clearly wants us to know he works out. He doesn't have, he works front of house at the DNVR sports bar, and he doesn't have a ton going on for him other than that. So he really needs people to know, man, I work out. These maybe show muscles, but fucking look at the show muscles.
Is it short sleeves as well?
Oh yeah.
The really tight, like where his biceps. It's always like that's about to rip because it's so tight.
Now I'll say he'll do that in the summer. Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
He's not going to push that to the winter months, though. He's not going to be. Fair. He's not that guy. He will wear. The long, but he also will wear that long sleeve that contours very well to the tricep area, to your lat. So he's still broadcasting that he's cut without just shoving it into your face. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. I got you. You.
Yes, Richie. That's where he is right now. Actually, he's collecting the Bills jock straps.
Let's see. Joey, Chubb to the Giants would be outstanding. I mean,
It bothers me. I'll tell you
does.
why. It's upsetting that Daniel Jones's team looks so much better than Russell Wilson's team
Right? Isn't
right
my
now.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't.
Let's see. It should be a new Netflix documentary.
Oh man, did
I get enough of it on Sundays.
Did y'all watch the Tua? Not the Tua. Oh God, now I can't place his name. The linebacker, Notre Dame. He got catfished. Manti Te'o. Did you guys check out the Manti Te'o?
Insane.
And it's like, oh man, yeah, we all made fun of that guy. Oh, but shit, like it.
Jared's back. Anyway, change the subject. Don't.
No, Jared's not Manti Te'o. Anyway, what? How you doing, buddy? How have you been? Why
are we changing subjects and what are we talking about?
Nothing.
Don't worry about it.
What's up with you?
I had work calls to take, and now I'm feeling super awkward.
Well, drink some more rum and Coke.
It'll help.
And it will taste better and feel better. Yes.
Are we on the after show yet? Or are we still on the live?
This is the after show, dude.
It's been after show all show. All right. Yeah. Now, Jared, would you wear? I won't ask it this way. I'm going to ask it a different way because I know you would wear. In what circumstances would you purposefully wear a shirt that's too small for you?
Can we rephrase the question to what circumstances I would not wear a shirt that is too small for me?
Okay.
We can, but in that case, you've already answered my question. So, rum and Coke at Mile High Stadium, $19. Joey, the way things are going, that's going to be more expensive than the price of a ticket soon. So,
sure is.
Oh man,
love it. Well, not to step on your guys' pregame podcast, obviously, but what do you guys
step on it, Kevin? We haven't done it in 2 weeks, so
what
100% my fault.
Initial feelings heading into the game. I mean, other than just crappy, like where are we? What are some things you want? Some teasers for the podcast, if you will.
David, you take this one. You take. I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you take this one.
No. I got this.
You guys are just such on the same page. It's kind of like you're twins. You started on the same bit without even prior coordination. You just both read each other's faces and you just go.
I got to tell you, Jared and I do not have opening the kimono a little bit wider for the viewers. Jared and I, over the years, just do not have that much in common. If you look at our lives, look at the way we live.
It is so funny.
We're different people. We're very different people. But when you get Jared and I in a room together, we're just right there. We're just right there, and there's no explaining.
Don't miss a beat.
It's a force of nature. It really is.
It really is.
It's survived low these 20 years, and sometimes high these 20 years, but mostly low.
The high parts are because of David.
Well, I mean, for now.
Well,
for now. For now. So, gentlemen, we've got Rich in here talking about pom-pom hat buying secrets. I will not be giving those to the audience, Rich. Those go to my grave with me. Now, the cheers for Rippin' Joey, this comment. The cheers for Rippin' when he came onto the field, a lot louder than Wilson. There's feelings in Broncos country right now. And Joey, first of all, I don't want to admit your premise because I don't know if that's true or not. Kevin's the only one who goes to these games.
I missed the players running on the field. I got there just in time for the national anthem.
Fair enough.
I didn't hear the cheers when they were announcing the players today or this week.
Anyway, man, shit's rough all over. What do you want me to say?
Embrace the suck. Look, it's not the offseason where
there it is.
Football.
There it is. There's just it's awful football. And I understand it's terrible to watch right now, but when you're sitting in the middle of goddamn June, don't tell me that you wouldn't rather have bad football on your TV than than just watching
look forward to.
just watching PGA golf on Sundays in June, just or flipping over to ESPN the Ocho to find out what the hell's going on, and then it's like the pro pickleball league, and you're like, oh god,
preach.
This is
cornhole
or
bowling,
bowling, and then you watch, and then you find yourself sucked into this black hole where you watch about an hour and a half of bowling, and you're like what happened to me?
Yes.
And then at that point you make the choice of I need to get out and fix my life, or I'm going to the store for pork rinds because there's more bowling on TV tomorrow.
Double down.
Like you, and that's
double down's always the answer.
And that's not a great place to be, Jared.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but it's a tough place to be.
Yep.
I doubled down on some Korean baseball over the offseason, and I don't think I'm happy about it.
Well, hey, there is a lot to be happy about. Before we do some closing thoughts, guys, Orange Weekly has a ton of content for you, from the Monday night shows, Tuesday night shows, pregame and halftime shows, to the pregame and the postgame podcasts on all of your podcast platforms. You can check us out there, as well as our website, BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. Make sure you follow us on all our social media. And like I said before, we will be live 1 hour before kickoff, including this Sunday, which will be at 6:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We will be live. So we will see you then. But let's go on to some closing comments, as this show has been all over the place, but a fun show nonetheless for it all. Jared, you first, good sir. What do you think?
I think that the Broncos have more football to play this year.
David.
1 second.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna.
I'm still absorbing Jared's final thoughts there, because boy, he's not wrong, and it's
not wrong.
It's a doozy. It's a doozy. My final thought is a response to Joey's final comment here. No.
Okay.
No.
My final thought will just I'm just gonna say I got nothing. I just want to see something good for once. Like, we've been waiting so long. Just go out there and play a smart football game. You know, is it that hard to ask?
Defense.
Okay.
Defenses are one good thing that.
And I'm talking about the offense. Defense has been great. Like, defense knows what they're doing. But offensively, go out there and just, you know, when it's third and short, don't line up in the shotgun every time. You know, and anyway, I don't know, guys. Look, it's going to be interesting. We're going to be overseas, so we'll see what happens. But guys, I appreciate you being here. Anything else before we end it?
There's only one thing left to say. And
Only
we've
one
said
thing
it.
left to say.
Boy, have we said it all.
We have. But we'll end it on this, as we always do, with a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everybody.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.